Good evening, and thank you as always for joining us here on Speed Racing Network. Night number 2 out here at Talladega Super Speedway. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Brandon Domain. Brandon, we are out here at Talladega. It's going to be a fun one here in the Truck Series tonight.
Absolutely. It always is at Talladega, and I think we were a little surprised at how single file last night's race was, how clean last night's race was. Seeing minimal caution, seeing really just very few issues on track even that cycled off the racetrack that didn't even bring out a caution. I can only count really 1 or 2 incidents that happened. See how the truckers do tonight is it's a lot different handling-wise for these trucks than what we saw for those Cup drivers last night. These trucks always put on a heck of a show when it comes to these plate races.
Yeah, I mean, I expect to see a great finish once we get to the end of these 60 laps. But yeah, you're right. We had one caution yesterday that kind of led to a little bit of a strategy being played by some guys that were able to make it a one-stop race there in that last 50 or so laps. So maybe we see something similar tonight, and maybe we just see this thing go green flag the entire time as well. These guys are definitely capable of doing just that. So let's get right into it, Brandon. Head over to the Speed Racing Network Truck Series point standings, and at the top, last week's winner, Ryan Johnson, still with a healthy margin ahead of that cut line. He sits 152 points up ahead of Josh Mueller, and then he's got a 13-point gap over Lane Doyle, Brad Herman, Trevor Williams, and Jonathan Byer rounding out the top 5. And keep in mind, everybody, that this is before we integrate those drop weeks into these standings. I should be maybe including them next week here on the broadcast, so stay tuned for that. But right now, you got to start looking at these cut line drivers. It's getting to the time where you can't really afford many bad finishes, Brandon, and Talladega is a wild card when it comes to that.
It certainly is, and that was a quality teaser right there with the drop weeks, because there are those 3 races that get dropped between race 1 and 12. If you're Ryan Johnson, you're going to be pretty comfortable regardless, because pretty much every week it's been a strong finish there for our points leader. But I think the bigger thing is we're really seeing a gap developing right in front of that cut line, which we normally don't see. 22 points from Rob Yost Jr. in 15th, Josh Mueller first one out in 16th. That's as big of a margin as I can really recall seeing in SRN going back to season 1. Typically, you'll see it maybe a handful of points, but we're really seeing a separation here from these top 15 drivers that are really putting together some consistent finishes.
Yeah, the cream rises to the top usually, and that's exactly what we're seeing now that we've got a healthy amount of races under our belt already into week number 8 here at Talladega. So 7 races included in these standings. You're going to start seeing those guys that have been having the good runs, and that's a look at the top half or the top portion of these standings. This is the rest of the pack that's finding themselves in that situation that you kind of foreshadowed, Brandon. You can't let it get too far away, because we know you can get about 48 points, I believe, max pointage in a race. So you've got to stay within that margin if you want to be able to get within striking distance and make a push for that top 15. It's going to be quality races here that you need to make that move.
And honestly, I look at it as you're hoping for 10 points a week is doable. 15 a week that you're trying to make up is where it's really starting to become a reach. Now, Talladega, such a wild card race that this can really shake up the point standings. We'll really have a better picture once we get through this one, because then we start going to more traditional intermediate style tracks that are going to be a little bit more predictable on the drivers. But I really think if you're sitting there, you're looking at 5 races until that cutoff. If you're sitting 50, 60 points back, you're really starting to be in that danger zone where you're going to need some really consistent, strong finishes the rest of the way to make up these gaps.
Yeah, take a look at the 4-way tie for 18th there, 25 points back of that cut line. But that's the thing. I mean, from 16th on back to 26, they're only separated by 16 points realistically. So, I mean, this standings is going to shake up big time after we get done here tonight at Talladega. But we want to go ahead and take a look, as always, at these team championship standings here after 7 of 20 races. JW Racing starting to walk away with this thing still solidly in number 1, 777 points to their name. But that race right there from about 2nd all the way down to 6th there with Zuyos, is getting really tight. I'm doing the math super quick in my head, and I believe that's about 55 points separating second to sixth. So seeding is going to be very important when it comes to the team championship. So, hey, this is a race that you can really make up some serious ground on these guys ahead of you.
Huge ground, and that 55-point gap, that's only about 40% of the points that are available for a team to pick up max points over the course of a race. We're scoring our top 3 drivers for each team, so plenty left to be decided in that race from 2 to 6. And you might be thinking, if you're kind of just joining us or not familiar with the team side of it, all 8 teams are going to make this bracket-style playoff, but it's going to come down to seeding. So if you're that number 2 seed, you're looking at a Bobby Anderson Racing that has had a little bit of a harder time this season, and then as opposed to a Stryker Motorsports currently sitting in 3rd, they would have Zuyos. Jonathan Byer Racing would have Rat Pack Racing, and what would be just a great battle there. 2 very evenly matched teams, but you're really trying to get to that 2nd spot to get out of that range where we've got those 5 teams that have really been linked up together for the entire season thus far.
Yeah, and I mean, you really got 2 separate races right here when you look at it, too, because that race for the 7th seed is really close, too. So Tank Racing, they see who they're matched up with right now. And with the way JW Racing is running, I would not want to race them in the first round of that team championship playoff. So that battle for the 7th seed is going to be very important as well. So this is really going to shake up. We said the individual standings are going to shake up. This is going to get all shaken up after this week because we saw JW grab the max points at Daytona. So they all finished in the top 3. They all got scored with top 3 points each. And we'll see if another team is able to do just that here tonight. But taking a look at the sponsors, we got Silverback Tax Solutions out here. Got any issues with the IRS, go ahead and check them out at silverbacttax.com. Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing. If you're looking to get that car all cleaned up and car show ready, check out Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing. Butt Kicker coming on board for that Butt Kicker Hard Charger Award. We're going to get to those standings here in a second. And TJ's Team Foundation at morethanAcape.org. Go ahead and check them out. Donate anything you can, whether it's your time, money, or word of mouth. It goes a long way. So this is what those guys are racing for with that Butt Kicker Hard Charger. They're going to be racing for one of these Gamer 2s. And Brandon, I just like to bring it up every now and then. It's been a couple weeks since we brought up the butt radar. I know that's how you like to assess these things and kind of describe them. They're a pretty cool piece of equipment.
They're very cool, and they would be quite the ride that you would be getting around Talladega and then also around Auto Club here coming up shortly with how bumpy these surfaces are. You're going to feel every little bit of that. It just utilizes sound, utilizes the bass, and you attach it to the chair. Just gives you a little extra feel on the racetrack about what that car is doing. Also good for other games as well, so don't just think it's a racing only a piece of equipment.
No, not at all. So this is the standings as they are after last week's race of Watkins Glen. Rob Yost still sitting at a 15.3 average positions gained. Cody Madden there in second. Kyle Lingerfelt there in third. Pretty tight matchup here, and there is going to be a lot of people starting in the back of this one to probably try and make a run at moving up these standings. But we got another set of standings to check out, and that is the Silverback Tax Solutions Power Rankings handed down from our very own Sean Griffith. And at the top, no surprise, is Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, not a shock at all. You just look at those numbers: 3 wins, 6 top 5s. I think the only shock was he wasn't number 1 already after going into last week's race. He moved up from the number 2 spot. Not to take anything away from Brad Herman with his 1 win and 5 top 5s. See the argument there. Just personally, I probably would have gone with Ryan Johnson at 1, but that all writes itself here this week. Lane Doyle, our Daytona winner, sitting there in the 3 spot. And then you also have Sean Jensick, Trevor Williams, also with race wins this season. They're also inside the top 10 with 5th and 9th, respectively.
Yeah, good to see Lingerfelt moving into the top 10 as well. And each of these drivers sitting in the top 10 here in the power rankings with a top 5 to their name, which is not easy to come by any means. So keep an eye on those bubble drivers. Michael Madden, I know he wants to get back into top 10 here. Jonathan Byer, Jose Castellanos, who was top 5 not too long ago, has had a fall from grace. He's going to be looking at getting back in the top 10 of these power rankings here as well. And then Benjamin Park and Josh Mueller. So one quick glimpse at what these guys are racing for here tonight and this season, really, in general. They're going to be running for that $500 here in a few weeks. We're in week number 8. 13 is the last week of the regular season. So that $500 prize is going to start coming into the vision of a lot of these guys out there in track. They're going to be able to see it here shortly. But tonight, they're going to be running for $30 here for first. Second, going to get $20. Third through fifth, getting their money back. So I believe, Brandon, they are done here with qualifying. We're going to go ahead, head out to the track here at Talladega Superspeedway. Beautiful day for a nice 60-lap race here in the Truck Series.
And it seems nice and short, but that is going to be a long and intense near 1 hour that these guys are going to be having, not even counting caution. So if that thing stays caution-free, we'll be looking at about 50 minutes. But it's going to be intense, but the view is going to be pretty good for some of these guys that are going to be starting up front.
Yeah, and the guy starting at the front is Ryan Johnson, our 3-time winner, already on the season, looking to maybe make it 4 here. And like I said, we saw JW Racing control that race at Daytona. Look for them to do the same here tonight. Looks like we got quite a few of them here in the top 12 already. But Ryan Johnson and Michael Madden there on the front row. Bobby Anderson and Ben Park in row number 2. And then you got Nathan Nixon and Troy Techmeyer in row number 3.
In row 4, it'll be Nick Halda for JW Racing and Dark Tank Racing's Josh Fox. Row 5 will be another JW Racing pair with Dean Gagliano and Trevor Williams. Row 6, Lucas Lyons for Bobby Anderson Racing and Jonathan Byer Racing's Jesse Necula on the outside.
Yeah, and you got row 7 here, Jacob Zala, Andrew Harris, James Kerr and Bo Tiffany in row number 8, AJ Pritchett, Jonathan Byer in row number 9 with Cody Madden and Travis Anderson there in row number 10. So that's your top 20 starting order here tonight. I believe I hear some trucks out on the racetrack, and they are getting ready to go behind that iRacing pace car here tonight. So, Brandon, who you got? Who you looking at here tonight? I think I heard you mention someone before the broadcast, and it's someone we might be familiar with here at Restrictor Plates.
Yeah, you can't look too far from Daytona, and the man that was out in front at the end of that one was Lane Doyle, and that was kind of the shot across the bow from JW Racing to everybody, and we were sitting there saying, man, this team might have something, and man, they have not proven us wrong since then. I'm going to go with Lane Doyle to see if he can repeat what he did in Daytona.
All right, I like that pick, and I'm going to go ahead, head up front here a little bit further up, and I'm going to take Andrew Harris tonight in that really cool Joe Nemechek Bell South throwback here. Even got the Joe Nemechek number there with the 87. Not sure, I don't think that was what he ran at the time, but regardless, it's a really cool paint scheme. And Andrew Harris has been on a tear here lately, moving his way up through these standings after not the start he wanted to this season. I think we find this 87 out in front and maybe in victory lane at the end of this one.
Very, very possible. And you mentioned those throwbacks. It is throwback week here. We don't have Darlington on the schedule. We figured, you know what? Talladega seems like a pretty good time to bust out some throwbacks. Whole lot of them out there in the field tonight. We'll try to get through as many as we can here. But I would say about 3/4 of the field all running throwbacks tonight.
Yeah, they look really good. Lane Doyle's going to hook up one of our very own SRN drivers here. There's a little poll going on within our Discord. Whoever gets the best or most votes for the best paint scheme is going to get a little die cast made by our very own Lane Doyle out of JW Racing. So really cool for him to do that. But that's enough of that. It's about time to get that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag out in the air here at Talladega. And Ryan Johnson's going to see that flag a-waving, and we're underway here in Alabama. Such a cool camera when you see turn 1 digger cam and then coming right at you out of turn number 2. Building up that speed as they head down the backstretch into turn number 3. And a big push from Bobby Anderson there in the 18, giving Ryan Johnson the shove he needs to clear Nathan Nixon there in that 98.
And that 98, the Dale Earnhardt throwback there, that's Nathan Nixon. He was the first one to really try to jump lines, and now Bobby Anderson going to be doing the same. He's going to leave that push that he was giving Ryan Johnson. Now he's going to head out that outside line, see if he can maybe steal one here. We heard about the difficulties for these drivers to make that outside line work yesterday. The trucks looking to be a very different story, as on the end of lap 1, give that to Ryan Johnson by 0.02 of a second, maybe a precursor to what we'll be seeing here 60 laps from now.
Oh, I would not be surprised to see side-by-side racing here in the Truck Series all night long. These guys have had great races. Everywhere we go, we're going to see just that here tonight. Bobby Anderson trying to clear Ryan Johnson as we look at these guys heading down turn number 3 in the middle of turn 3 and 4 here. We're going to chase these guys all the way around back to the turn 4 exit, heading right towards the starter here.
Getting the view from Barney's perch up there, holding that flag, waiting that hopefully he doesn't have to use it anytime soon, is still side by side all the way through for the most part, back to about the top 25 trucks, all running a high speed 180 mile an hour pace lap around Talladega. Continues to be Ryan Johnson leading the bottom line, Bobby Anderson leading the outside line, but they got teammates lined up now on the inside with Johnson, Halda, and Gagliano, 3 JW trucks, all lined up 1, 2, 3 on that low line.
And that 46 just behind Lucas Lyons there in the 7, so JW almost already has control of the bottom line out in front, and that is not what these guys want to see early on here. But yeah, did it throw you off a little bit, Brandon, when you were referencing the Dale Earnhardt throwback in the Ford out there?
There's some weird crossovers every now and then. I think we've seen, even in real life, we had Jeffrey Earnhardt at one point drive the 24 this season. That was kind of weird. But yeah, iRacing, you get some great ideas, but there are some weird combinations that pop up sometimes.
But yeah, looking out front, nothing changing. We'll go ahead further on back here. Still side by side. I believe it's side by side all the way back here where Lane Doyle is in 22nd, and then you got, who is that yellow? It's going to take me a little while. I believe that's Bergeson leading that outside lane with his teammate Josh Mueller just behind him, trying to catch up to these guys. So it's almost side by side for about 20 rows deep here. Well, actually 19, since we only have 38 trucks here tonight. Had 40 cars show up in the Cup Series race last night. So off to a great start here at week number 8. SRN, great car counts all around, and it's putting on a great show here tonight. I'm really surprised some of these guys, Brandon, back here aren't opting to maybe drop back a little further than what they are. I feel like that's what Josh Mueller is thinking down back here, and Sean Jensick as well, trying to stay on the tail end of this lead pack.
It read my mind. I was a little surprised, not just that they haven't dropped back as far, but more that they're still side by side once you get back from 25th on back. I kind of figured, maybe they would get a little bit more single file, just kind of ride around a bit. They're doing a good job of spacing out, so they're not in any danger of a bad push or anything like that. That's what you kind of expect to see in the back half of this field in the early laps. But I think maybe they got a little gun shy because of what they've seen yesterday, what they saw for the Cup Series at Daytona even. There's been some SRN plate style, I can't say plate anymore, but you know what we're talking about. But with Talladega and Daytona races, we're starting to see more and more caution-free, or maybe one caution. So maybe some of these guys starting to get a little gun-shy about dropping too far back.
This is the point of view from the last car on the track here. So not very often, Brandon, that you see every car on the track within that lead pack. This is a huge pack here. Now Daniel Park's starting to make a move to the outside, but 38 trucks, that's the look here from the back of the pack. It can easily escalate your heart rate in a hurry once you start seeing some smoke ahead of you.
Yeah, and just look at the reference points on the wall with those banners or the flags. It kind of tells you how quick everything's going to be coming up. So even if up front there's a problem, you're going to be there within about 2 seconds or so if you're in the back of the field. And then you got to think about all the trucks that are going to be in the way. Everybody scattering in front of you. You're going to have split-second decisions even if you're currently running in that 38th position.
So that outside lane getting a big push and shoving Bobby Anderson to the lead. Michael Madigan able to come down with him. Nathan Nixon wasn't able to clear and go down to the inside. So that's going to give him the advantage on the outside lane now. That's Ben Park behind him there in the 8 out of dark tank racing. Troy Techmeyer in the 32. Andrew Harris, the fourth car in line on the outside. So kind of changing up the order a bit, which is what these guys need to do. I'm telling you, you do not want to have JW get back in control of this thing like we saw at Daytona. It's going to be very hard to make a move on 5 trucks that have been practicing together all week long.
Yeah, and at Daytona, we saw similar, where a Tank in the Cup Series really controlled the race as a team, and then JW kind of replicated that. And the thing that caught me off guard on the truck side of it was how willing everybody was to just kind of let that play out, thinking that a caution would come, thinking that things would happen, or they would have time to kind of battle back against that team strategy. Not the case today. Everybody just really attacking JW at this point, making sure they don't implement that strategy that was really costing people early, and now we got a caution out on the racetrack, trouble in turn 2.
Yeah, we took a look at that digger cam, and I could tell something was about to happen, and I was trying to find it because we had people driving on the yellow line right there where the apron just really gets really banked from the track will get it meets the apron right there, and that'll make these trucks upset. And no surprise, we see the caution come out, and I believe we're going to see something stem up from that. I'm going to go ahead and track it down here and bring up the Sparkle and Shine mobile detailing wreck replay. Let's check it out here with Travis Anderson. He's already going to be in the wall at this point, so I'm going to rewind it a little bit here.
I saw him. I also saw it look like Connor Cunningham with some damage, Sean Jensick, Ben Park. Here's Lane Doyle on the outside, and I just don't think Travis Anderson saw him coming or thought that he still had space to make that save, and just got him all kinds of squirrely. Gets into Josh Mueller, gets into Blair Holloman, and then just everything breaking loose. It was in the back of the field, so maybe only about a third of that field really caught up behind it, but half of that group all caught up with some damage and because of that.
Yeah, this is from Wallapiki. He sees it happening right in front of him. Travis is coming down. Walt gets through here pretty nicely. Just a little bit of a tap there.
Oh.
That'll be the least of his worries after what just happened in front of him. Putting that one on the 33 of Travis Anderson. He is going to get the EOL here. So no surprise, you were right there. I think he just didn't know that Lane Doyle was making a run to the outside there, and unfortunately got both of them into the wall, comes down in front of the field, and we get our first caution here of the night on lap number 8. So off to a good start. Really great racing, Brandon. That was awesome seeing the field all in one pack, running side by side out in front.
Yeah, everybody doing a good job side by side. Saw some 3-wide racing there, a little bit easier to do at Talladega than Daytona. Couple of trucks staying out, led by Ben Park. I said Ben Park earlier on the 6th. That was Dan Park, sorry.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, but we got about 8 trucks staying out for the most part. Everybody else coming in from 28th on back. Those are going to be the trucks that were caught up in that wreck, maybe picked up some damage, if not some heavy damage. So we're looking at about 20 trucks decided on at will just to come down pit road, top it off on fuel, and start maybe thinking about that fuel mileage game here a little bit early.
Well, now, Brandon, you're usually better at thinking about these things. We saw last night that people were typically getting around 28 to 30 laps in a fuel run. So I'm really surprised to see these guys stay out. This thing could very well be the only caution of the night. And I believe these guys that just pitted here on lap number 9, they should be able to make it a one-stop race from here. I'm really questioning why they wouldn't come down pit road.
Yeah, and you're going to get a little bit less mileage out of the trucks than you are because they're just more of a brick. You're going to have to punch a bigger hole in the air. It's going to use up a little bit more fuel, even though they're running a little bit slower. But they're probably banking on another caution, maybe thinking that, I don't want to be in that position where I'm kind of mired back in the pack. Maybe some of them thought fewer trucks were going to wind up pitting, and it would just be putting them so far back into the mid-pack where you just don't want to be at this position in the race. So they might have just been thinking, let's just keep some clean air out in front, keep a little bit less traffic in front of us, and hopefully there's another caution coming.
Looking like all of the JW trucks except for Lane Doyle staying out as well. So while they get this grid fielded back up together, we're going to go ahead and step aside real quick, take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back here with some green flag action on the other side.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktx.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
You guys did not miss one bit of the action thanks to our side-by-side boxes. We're back from that commercial break, and the pace car lights are off, Brandon. We're going to get this awesome racing that we were just talking about during the commercial break back underway. It was really cool to see this whole pack battle in there for about 10 laps or so.
Great racing side by side. Few times we saw some three-wide racing as well, but it's starting to look like this might come down to team strategy, pit strategy potentially, should this thing stay green the rest of the way. Speaking of team, we got all those JW trucks that we were looking at a little bit ago. They all stayed out. They're all scattered amongst those first three rows, though. They're going to have to do some work to get lined up.
Yeah, so Ben Park, not Dan Park, Brandon. We're getting this down. The 8 of Ben Park is out in front, and that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is waving. He gets it underway with a really good jump on the field. That's going to be able to clear Ryan Johnson down there for second here. So he's got the 48 bearing down on him now as the field's starting to get underway and up to speed to this 2.5-mile oval.
It was a great jump, but at the same time, this is one of the two tracks you don't necessarily want a great jump on these restarts. Still early, you kind of feel that out though, so no harm, no foul, but man, quickly, all four of those JW trucks still up there in the running that didn't pick up damage in that incident that just happened to bring out the caution, all lined up once again, second through fifth on the inside line. Top line going to be led by Bo Tiffany, and the Andy Petrie throwback, he's going to be getting pushed from a Jeff Gordon throwback, as it's Jesse Necula right behind him.
Yeah, two really cool paint schemes out here. All these guys actually bringing it here this week. It was only a couple weeks ago that we announced that we were doing the throwback week here at Talladega, and man, these guys jumped right to it, getting it done here, and they are showing out here tonight as that highlight's starting to get some good momentum. That 01 really picking up some speed, and going to have to do just that with those 3 JW racing trucks pushing the dark tank racing truck of Ben Park. So really good momentum starting to come from this high line now. They're starting to get in order a little bit. I thought we were about to see a lot of single file at the restart there, but these guys starting to opt for that high line, Brandon.
Yeah, and I think that low line kind of lost some of that momentum. It looked like Nick Helda either got accordioned up in turns 1 and 2 or maybe just kind of lost the line a little bit, maybe having a little bit of vision difficulties there, which is probably the most underrated part of super speedway racing, is just how little you actually see. But he kind of got off sequence there with everybody else, and that kind of killed that little bit of momentum on the inside. Bo Tiffany happy to take advantage of that, because look at the run he's got on the outside now as he's got Necula behind behind him, Michael Madden behind him, and Bobby Anderson there. Just a nice looking throwback. It's all the 90s there on that outside line at the moment.
Yeah, and then you got Cody Madden, Lucas Lyons, Nathan Nixon as well back there. So back to where we left off here, side by side throughout the whole field here tonight. Now not nearly as big after that first caution. Wow, Ben Park gets really out of shape there. Ryan Johnson stays off the bumper, thankfully, but that's really going to help this outside lane if they can get Michael Madden maybe to the bumper here of Necula. They can get some big-time momentum heading down towards the start-finish line, but unable to do so because that inside lane is much tighter, and that's going to make the draft even stronger for these guys.
Looks like we got Lucas Lyons way up high. He got shuffled out, and he's about getting ready to be hung out to dry all by himself on the outside, and this is going to be a good look at what that draft effect is going to be like. He's already fallen back 3-4 rows. He needs to try to see if he can squeeze down in front of this 5 truck and get there, but he's not going to be able to do it. He's going to find himself all the way near the back of the field after getting shuffled out from about the 9th position when that happened.
Yeah, this is what the loneliest place on the track looks like right now, and that's on board this 7 truck driven by Lucas Lyons. No takers yet to really go to that high side. Sometimes we'll see that, but maybe not after our first caution of the night. These guys are going to go right on by. Now, this track definitely does promote.
Sorry, just caught my eye. All the JW trucks down pit road under green flag conditions. So that strategy that we were talking about might have been a miss here from JW Racing. They're going to be out on an island by themselves at this point in the race.
Man, I just have to imagine there has to be something we don't know that's going on right now. Maybe they know something we don't. But nonetheless, that is a big development here. Only on lap number 16, JW going to only have themselves to work with out there on the track now. Should still be pretty fast, but that really shakes it up here. Now Michael Madden battling with Bo Tiffany for the spot out in front. Bobby Anderson giving a big shove to the 15 there of Madden, and that is still Jesse Necula behind Bo Tiffany there on the inside. So Rat Pack Racing for the Truck Series here, really getting it together, forming up well there on the outside. You got Cody Madden, Nathan Nixon there as well, so they are making a push here to get out in front of this one.
Man, these guys are getting pretty racy out there, seeing some side drafting attempts, getting really close. Normally, early on in the race, you'll see some guys use those dotted lines that kind of act as lane separators in a way visually. Kind of use that as a cue, but they are not doing that in the least out here out in front as Michael Madden cuts down to the inside a little bit ago to take that inside line. That's going to put Bobby Anderson as the lead truck on the outside, being pushed by Michael's brother, Cody Madden, who's going to be in that golf paint scheme. That's one of the better F1-inspired paint schemes out there. I love that one. So good-looking truck there. But, yeah, these guys getting real racy around here as we're only a quarter of the way through this race.
Yeah, the Cody Madden truck is really good-looking. Even the number looks really cool on that one. And who doesn't love a golf throwback paint scheme? Those colors are the best. So he's doing it right by putting that thing near the front. He's all over the back bumper of Bobby Anderson. Not sure if he's going to try and get by him or what here as he keeps taking a look, maybe just getting some air on the nose of that 3, but working his way up to the front, doing a really good job of it, up plus 16 on the evening after starting in 19th place.
And big mover there, and a couple of names that we haven't talked about today a whole lot, but we're looking at Jason Kratke there in 7th. He's 4th on the outside line. Zach Ferguson sitting there just behind him in 9th. Josh Fox sitting inside the top 10 as well. So a couple of guys quietly moving their way up towards the front here as we near about a third of the way through this race. It's going to start clicking away pretty quickly, a lot quicker than you think if this thing stays green.
So that's Rat Pack Racing there. The first 3 trucks there on the inside now with Madden, Nixon, and Madden all lined up in a row. And then cue Bobby Anderson. That's Jason Kratke and Bobby Anderson racing right there in the 18 and 54. So 2 team battles here up front. And then you got a little bit of tank racing showing up further on in the pack here. So it's starting to get all sorted out. And these teammates are really finding each other out here on the track as we got a drag race heading down to turn number 3.
Man, that outside line having a really hard time, and we've seen this with multiple trucks, really keeping that thing balanced. It's a lot easier on the inside to stay in line with each other. You just have more visual cues. You can use the yellow line that wraps around the apron. It just kind of helps out a lot more. That outside line, a little bit more unpredictability. That's typically why the outside line just doesn't generate the same amount of speed as the inside line. Sometimes that outside line, if they can actually gel together, though, they get big runs. They can kind of whip it around a wider turn radius. They scrub off a little bit less speed, but it just takes a little bit more work to make that outside line work, as the way outside line now starting to develop, and we might have 3 wide racing for the lead here pretty quick, as Blair Holloman getting a big shove from Jacob Zala there in the 75, as we got 3 wide for third.
Yeah, Lucas Lyon's going to opt to go up to that high line too. Wow, Jacob Zala gets real out of shape there. Got to be careful. Where he's running right now can really cost a lot of trucks their day. If he gets out of shape, it comes back down. Lucas Lyon's not liking the ride behind that 75, but yeah, they're just kind of stalling out here in these first 2 lanes on the bottom, and 06, 75 doing a great job of working with one another to get the momentum and head up towards the front. They're going to go right on by Ferguson right there, gets real close as they go into turn 1.
Oh boy, 3 wide lap truck coming here in the turn. This might get real dicey, as I believe that's Dean Gagliano's truck right there, and he's going to get just at the right time, get to the back straightaway, the dive off, but I think that actually killed the inside line just a little bit. They might have had to back off, and that's going to let Anderson and Kratke jump down to the inside and pull out in front of that Rat Pack trio.
Yeah, so nobody budging right here. Now we got Bobby Anderson leading the inside lane, being pushed by Kratke. That's Bergeson leading that middle lane, being pushed by his teammate Josh Mueller. And then Blair Holloman to the outside, being pushed by Jacob Zala. But that inside lane really starting to make a move here and pull away from this 3 wide race that we're watching a little bit further on the pack. Starting to single out up front.
Yeah, this is what this group of 5 really wants to see, is 3 wide behind them, as they can kind of start to pull away just that little bit, or at least just get in that comfortable position where they're not going to have to worry about side by side for a while, unless these trucks really band together and start getting tight to each other, and they can start pulling through. But a 5-truck tandem, all single file, that's going to be tough to get by as long as these guys are going 3 wide. And one development, saw a truck that was kind of blinking there a little bit for the past few laps. That was Lucas Lyons. He's been given a warning and actually a black flag to come down pit road here to get out of the way with how much there was blinking going on there for the 7.
Tough break there for Lucas Lyons. Just can't seem to catch one here this season after a great season in his rookie campaign and season number 2. And we see Blair Holloman get turned there by Jacob Zala. And that is going to take a lot of trucks out of this field. Bergeson involved here. You got, I believe that was Nekula also involved. Castellanos getting a little bit of a kiss there from the 40. That was the big one heading down into turn number 1.
Wow. Right up front, that is the nightmare scenario for the field as it was entering turn 1 and just kind of listening to the radio chatter. Jacob Zala said, I don't even know how that happened. Like he feels that there wasn't a lot of contact there, and watching the replay, there really wasn't, but it was off-placed contact, which was the problem. The last place you want to bump a truck and not catch it completely square is at the entry of either the turns or the tri-oval, and he was on the left side of that bumper as Blair Holloman was starting to come down into turn 1. That is just a rough spot to catch somebody. It wasn't much, but it was just enough to send that 06 around.
And you just see all the carnage afterwards. That was Jose Castellanos who got a big hit. He's got engine trouble now. Kyle Ryan drive right into the side there of his teammate Nekula there in the 35. A lot of trucks caught up in this one.
Man, we were just talking about Lucas Lyons getting a black flag. That might have been a gift to him to get out of all that racing that was going on there. So he's going to be a beneficiary of a black flag. You don't say that too often, but about 10, 12 trucks all damaged here in this one. As there you see at the EOL, no real way around that one. The EOL going to Jacob Zala. I don't think he really did anything wrong, just the wrong place to give that bump But that's part of what you see at Talladega. That's just how it goes. We saw it in real life this past weekend with the Joey Logano wreck going into turn one. Sometimes something just happens and you just catch the bumper at the wrong point.
That is super speedway racing to a T, I guess you could say. It's just you're going to get a bad push every now and then. And that, unfortunately, is a downside of what can happen to you. But, I mean, that's why I always disagree with people when they say super speedway racing is so easy. As far as the driving standpoint, maybe yes, you're right. It is easier. There's less skill that goes into that, but it is very hard to make it to the end of these things. And Brandon, you can speak on this. I've been caught up. We've all been caught up in wrecks here at super speedways. It's just sometimes inevitable with where you're running, and there's no safe place on the track. So, I mean, right there, some guys think that running up front is the safest spot. Not when it happens to the guys that are running up at the front. So it's going to get everybody on behind them, and that's exactly what we just saw. Everybody catching up to that wreck. Nowhere to go for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's safe to say the only safe place at Daytona or Talladega is being on pit road. That's the only safe place on the racetrack, because it can happen anywhere. We've seen wrecks up front. We've seen wrecks in the back, mid-pack. It's just so difficult. And you're right. It's not an easy style of racing. I would say it's a little bit easier to kind of control what you can control, but the problem is there's so much that you're out of control with. You have no say in some of these bump drafts or how some of the racing lines go or how it shuffles out around you. And when one person has a problem like we just saw, it can affect half the field.
Well, I think it's about to affect JW Racing in a very positive way, because we saw them have to come down under that green flag, which really got them off cycle with the field. But I think that this caution is going to be a savior for them. It puts their top three trucks here of Johnson, Williams, and Halda out in front. And I think this makes it a one-stop race for everybody from here on out. So they're really on even playing field when it comes to the rest of the field now.
Yeah, it should be one stop for everybody for sure. I think the JW guys, they did time that out, or they were banking on a caution coming and everybody else having to pit. Now they kind of cycle back out in front. They're going to have a whole lot less traffic. You know they're going to be on comms with each other to make sure that they really get lined up the way that they want to. It's going to be up to Bobby Anderson and Jason Kratke to put that pairing together and see if they can really kind of break up that trio that's going to be there. Nick Halda in the 45, he was going to be, I believe he was the first truck one lap down, so he should be the lucky dog, but he's pitting actually.
That's Gagliano, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, Gagliano. But yeah, I think he was going to be the first one, but he decided to pit, so he's going to lose that option for the waiver round. But yeah, so we're going to see 3 JW trucks, 2 Bobby Anderson trucks, still got 3 Rat Pack trucks that are going to be in the mix there too. So a lot of team battles are going to be playing out here as we get near halfway.
Yeah, and don't count out Tank Racing. I'm seeing about 3 or 4 of them in the top 12 as well. But want to go ahead and give the quick shout out to our current butt kicker hard charger. That's going to be Josh Mueller in this number 26 throwback. I'm trying to frantically scroll through here.
Oh, I gotcha, actually.
Yeah,
so it's Evan Evans throwback, and that's a name that I had to look up, and he actually kind of gave a little bit of info. He's an off-road truck racer, actually paraplegic in racing still, so very cool throwback. I always like some of the more lesser-known ones, just because they come with some cool stories. That's a good one right there. So the shout-out from Josh Mueller towards Evan Evans, off-road truck racer.
Yeah, that was an incredible story that I knew nothing about. So thanks to Josh Mueller for bringing that to light. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of us. I mean, you don't hear about that very often. And, man, that's really cool that he is able to still race. So, and, I mean, Josh really knocked it out of the park with the paint scheme as well. I mean, pretty much a mirror image of what his truck looks like in real life. So that is your current butt kicker hard charger. He's at plus 26 from where he started in 30 seconds, currently sitting there in 6th place. So Brandon's shaking up, but JW Racing back out in front here. I wonder how they're going to orchestrate getting this 46 down in front. I wonder if they're going to leave a little gap here between the 48 and the 49 to maybe work Trevor there in 2nd place.
Well, the big thing is what we saw at Daytona with these trucks was they really wanted to get 2x2 and control both lanes. Talladega, a little bit wider. The bigger part, though, is they are going to have to do 2 and 1 if they wanted to do that side-by-side kind of control both lanes. It's not really going to be possible. That's still leaving this race wide open for a lot of other guys out there, despite seeing those 3 JW trucks out in front, a lot less of a benefit than it was at Daytona.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they're able to do that. I mean, their next teammate after this top 3 is Lane Doyle in 19, so he's still got some ways to go before he's going to be up here running with his teammates. But they're doing a great job as that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is back out here at Dega for the second caution of the night. We're underway again on lap 27.
See that big jump there from Ryan Johnson. That's going to give Trevor Williams a shot to cut down to the inside just in front of Nick Helda, as we got a couple of Days of Thunder trucks out there in second and third. But it's going to be Bobby Anderson, and he's going to be by himself actually there on the outside, trying to side draft and stay up there, but he's got no help for a good 15 trucks behind him. Nobody wanting to look at the outside. There he gets a little bit of help with Jason Cracky. I kind of assumed he was going to be there with him that entire time, but he chose not to. Might be getting Andrew Harris and James Kerr into the running on the outside as well.
Yeah, I was about to be really shocked. It really looked like it was going to go single file there. Everybody got down to the bottom line in a hurry, and after the way that this Highline has performed tonight, as well as last night in the Cup Series race, I'd be shocked to not see anybody putting up a fight there to try to get back out in front. That's exactly what we're seeing as Bobby Anderson gets a big shove in front of Ryan Johnson here. Jason Cracky doing a great job as they go down 1 and 2.
And that outside line of 4 doing a good job of sticking together down the front stretch. They kind of broke up a little bit in 1 and 2, and that caused a bit of an issue in Jacobs Hollow. Whoa, hello. So he kind of came up on the track, looked in the mirror, and thought, that's not where I want to be right now. Got right back down onto the apron as he's still getting back up to speed after making a pit stop for a penalty there. But that outside still working as they're lined up well. It's Anderson and Johnson once again. We saw this on lap 1. They're in a nose-to-nose race again here on lap 28.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it comes down to these guys knowing what happened at Daytona. They saw it almost happen again last night with Tank Racing controlling a lot of that race. They probably would have won that race if it didn't come down to fuel at the end. And it can just go a long way to have as many trucks as you can out in front. And with the SRN allowing 5-person teams, you can really stock up these lines. So JW's still got 3 trucks there on the inside doing a great job of keeping up, battling with this outside lane consisting of Bobby Anderson, Cracky, as well as Andrew Harris. And I believe that's the 13 of James Kerr back there as well. A little throwback to himself, I believe, Brandon.
Yeah, that's actually a throwback to his first ever race car in real life. Just a very clean black car, red numbers, and that's a simple one for whoever was designing it for sure. But good looking truck actually. I kind of like that red on that matte black finish there to that 13 truck.
I love a good matte black race car, man. If I could ever own a race car, that's what it will be. I've got sheet metal from Martin Truex's Furniture Row race car back in those days, and man, that is my favorite type of paint scheme. So I'm digging it, James, and it's looking good as he's sitting in 8th place as well. So almost to the front of this thing after starting pretty, he was mid-pack. He started 15th up to 7th already, looking to pick up a few more spots here. But it's getting racy here in these first 3 or 4 rows up front because they are bouncing all around this track, getting big shoves from one another as Andrew Harris is trying to shove Jason Cracky, and he's trying to shove Bobby Anderson. You got to be careful with pushing the pusher, Brandon.
Yeah, that is the number one rule about about super speedway racing is don't push the pusher, because that truck in the middle in this instance tonight, the truck in the middle is going to be the one that normally gets the bad end of that, because they're going to be pushing a truck, they're going to be focusing on that. Then you get that tap from behind, it's going to shove you harder into the truck in front of you, and just something has to give, and most times it's that truck in the middle. So if you're getting ready to race any super speedway race anytime soon, don't push the pusher. That's normally how you get a nice little wreck going there.
Yeah, this field has kind of separated into 2 separate packs. We've got 1st through 15th here. Last car in this pack going to be Austin Purnell, and then leading the second pack about 8 seconds on back, maybe 9.5 actually, It back is going to be Bo Tiffany. Wow, as he gets a little bit of a shove there from Brad Herman, I believe that is, just behind him. So really big gap from this first pack to the second pack, and not really sure how that happened, quite honestly.
That was a little bit weird. I'm wondering if maybe Bo was kind of starting to drop down to the inside a little bit more, and it just kind of hit at the wrong time where he was starting to drop down. Brad was closing in and finally kind of broke that bubble and got to that tailgate and gave him a shove, and just kind of some weird timing. But we were talking about James Kerr, a throwback to himself. Brad Herman, a throwback to himself. That truck, the 85 truck second in line, actually modeled after his go-kart growing up that he raced in. So seeing a lot of self-throwbacks tonight.
Hey, why not? When you have control, you can make a free paint change. You don't have to actually take it to the booth. You just get on your computer, change it up a little bit, and go show out here at the racetrack. And that's what we're seeing a lot of these guys, too. It's a good-looking paint scheme in that 85, Mr. Brad Herman. So go back up to the front pack. These guys just putting Nathan Nixon a lap down there, that 98 on the high side. Nothing changing except for Bobby Anderson getting a big shove and down into turn number 1. Jason Crackey doing a great job of helping out his teammate there out in front. Andrew Harris also lurking up front. That's my pick, Brandon. I'm not at all surprised to see him where he's at right now.
No, that is a truck driver that is not afraid to be aggressive, to move his way up towards the front of a field. And at the real close moment there in the middle of the back straightaway, and Ryan Johnson deciding, I'm just going to hit the apron there for a second to get away from that near contact. But what it did do is completely break up that outside line for a good bit there, and that's going to let this inside line really pull forward by about 3 trucks. And now that outside going to have to regroup.
Yeah, that outside lane losing big time speed as we come back to the stripe to complete lap number 33 and start the 34th lap of this evening's race here at Talladega. So JW Racing doing a good job controlling it so far. They've got 3 guys in the top 3, but a big battle on their hands with Bobby Anderson, Jason Crackey, and Andrew Harris on the outside. James Kerr getting a little out of shape back there in the 13, but looking like we're starting to see more and more people migrate to the bottom, maybe trying to tick off some laps here, Brandon. It's usually when it happens is after something a little dicey like we just saw in the last lap.
Yeah, it kind of gets you thinking, maybe I don't want to do that. And then maybe you're looking at the black box there on the right, the lower right corner of your screen if you're behind that wheel, and thinking, we still got 27 laps to go. I don't know why I'm being this aggressive right now. Got a long way to go. Still got pit stops left before the end of this race. So I think everybody kind of getting a little bit shy about the aggression right now. Maybe we're starting to reload, though, as this outside line's starting to come back up. And right as I say it, there's that inside line trying to pull that side draft once again.
I'm not sure if it's side draft or just Bobby getting a really not so even push from Crackey and it's making that truck upset. Maybe a combination of both. I don't know. But coming up on Kyle Ryan here in the 91 throwback to Kyle Busch's double mint paint scheme as they go right on by him. He was involved in that earlier incident. So, yeah, this is 25, now actually 24 cars on the lead lap. So this is 1st through 15th, the group that we are following currently, and then there's another second on back. It's 16th through 24th, a little bit smaller than the one we're watching here. But this is the battle for the lead, and it's not going anywhere right now because that little line of 4 cars on the outside is doing a great job of keeping the speed headed down to turn 1.
Man, I'm really impressed by that outside line. It's just 4 trucks. At times, it's just 3 trucks. And they're being able to hold in with that inside line, which has a lot more energy in it because they can line up a good 10 trucks or so on that line. Now, it does kind of break up in the back half, but they still got the strength in numbers. But that outside line really doing a good job of sticking together as best as they can. And Bobby leading that push big time there as that train really sticking to that side of the 48 truck, as now they get a little bit squirrely as they work their way around more lap traffic, but still going to get a big run on that outside. And we might see Bobby Anderson lead this lap, might be clear of the 48 if he gets a little bit more of a shove.
Yeah, that was Jacob Zala going another lap down. So Mark hitting 3 laps down, but 24 to go. You see the hashtag Go Faster come out, and it is time to get up to the front. These guys are trying everything they can to clear that inside line of these JW Racing trucks, but really putting up a good fight. Wow, Crackey gets real out of shape there. That second car in line on the outside almost got into the 46 to the inside of him, and that City Chevrolet throwback to Cole Trickle.
Oh, problem there on the outside a little bit as Jason Kratke had to get shuffled out once again. He's going to get that space to come right back down in front of Andrew Harris, though, and regroup that inside. That outside line starting to pick up some more, though, as they got the Madden brothers, Michael and Cody, starting to pick up. That outside line might be legit, and it might be for real, because now it's 6 trucks on the outside against 8 on the inside.
I know Julie Madden out there in the chat's going to love seeing that. She's cheering on her boys, saying, "Stay together, boys." Number 15, number 3, Madden boys, with a bunch of exclamation marks. They're working their way up to the front now, as you see that 15 there, the Dale Earnhardt Sr. throwback there, and then the really cool golf throwback here from the 3 of Cody and Madden. So if they can get up there, it's really going to help the cause here. Is James Kerr getting in the mix too? He's going to be the 4th truck in line in that number 13 all matte black Toyota Tundra here. So it's going to get going here as we're coming to the stripe with 22 laps to go. JW going to make a pit this time.
And they're going to have Josh Mueller coming down with them. He saw the opportunity and thought, I'm going to have some drafting partners and an early pit stop. Not going to go that lap down. Caution comes out and go right back out front. So I don't disagree with that decision at all. But that's going to give the rest of the 10 trucks out here in this lead pack that track all by themselves, as they're going to have several seconds back to the next challengers.
And it's also important to know who you're pitting with and what they're taking, so you make the same amount of time in the pit stop. You don't want to take a little more, maybe take 4 tires, because you're also going to find yourself on pit road longer than the rest, and you're going to come out by yourself. Not a winning strategy by any means. So I have to imagine, Brandon, we're going to see a lot more guys maybe duck down pit road this time, as Cody Matt takes a look to the outside there. It's
going to be this time by, because these guys actually communicating over the radio a lot more that they were going to be making their pit stop. Gave time for Cody Madden, Michael Madden, and Rob Yost to get to the outside, because they're not coming this time by. So they gave that space to that inside line, and now we're seeing a big pack, 8 trucks, all making their way down pit road.
Well, that'll put the 3 out in front, being pushed by his brother Michael there in second. Rob Yost up to 3rd now, and these are the only guys out on the track. I mean, that second pack that is still 13 seconds behind them: Bo Tiffany, Brad Herman, Troy Techmeyer, Travis Anderson, Blair Holloman, Ben Park, Derek Silva, Walt Lipicki, and Lane Doyle. They have all yet to come down pit road as well. So Madden moving to the inside of Madden. That's going to move Cody Madden to behind Rob Yost. It's a lot of Maddens right now, Brandon.
A lot of Maddens and a lot of 90s throwbacks right now. We got the Dale Earnhardt throwback, got a Ron Hornaday throwback. That one more in the 2000s, though. And then, golf, you can go with about 20 different McLaren drivers at any point from the F1 side of things. But all 3 of them going to be making their pit stop this time. And they're going to have the smallest group of trucks that are doing this pit stop here. It's still going to be a quick one. They're probably just going to do a splash and go, maybe take 2 tires, just because they're going to have that time anyway with filling it up. But the big power play is going to be in a bigger pack of trucks, which at that 18 lead group is going to have the most here, as we're watching another big pack. This now the lead pack as these pit stops continue to cycle through, as Bo Tiffany picks up the lead with Brad Herman and Troy Techmeyer and the Neil Bonnet throwback, the top 3 trucks now.
Yeah, a lot of damaged trucks too in this second pack, which could be why they were losing as much time as they were to the leaders. But nonetheless, they have the lead now with 20 laps to go. I have to imagine they are not going to stay out for too much longer, but maybe trying to catch a lucky break and earn some track position here with the yellow flag maybe coming out here. But I don't know, with the field breaking up the way it is, they're going to have to face the music here and come down pit road here shortly as they stay out this time by.
Yeah, normally once you see it all broken up like this, I mean, you can go back to last night. Once that field got broken up, it was a very clean race the rest of the way, because there's just so much lower of a possibility to see trouble out on the racetrack, even with a third of this thing still to go, as we now have 19 laps left. I mean, just the aggression there, you can't really get too wild out there, because you don't have the numbers to really do a lot of side-by-side or 3 wide, get those big pushes. You're just kind of surviving if you're in this group, and everybody's sitting there probably on the radio saying, hey, single file, let's just keep some speed in this, see if we can build more and more of a gap, maybe make that pit stop splash and go, take less fuel, get out there in front of everybody still, or at least in contention with everybody, as they were about a dozen seconds behind the lead group originally anyway.
Yeah, they're currently 24 seconds ahead of that group, led by Ryan Johnson back there in 10th. He's the first car that is already pitted. So he's got Trevor Williams, Nick Halda just behind him with Andrew Harris, but these guys really stretching it out as far as they can go here. And it could very well pay off with just the unknowns that come with super speedway racing. So yeah, it's probably not going to help them out because the guys that have pitted already, they won't have to pit again, but still that's going to catch them back up to the field. They've lost a significant amount of time to what was that lead pack, and I think they're going to still be losing time because they're running them down. It's already down below 23 seconds, so Johnson is coming in a hurry back there in 10th.
Yeah, there's just a lot of damaged trucks in that, so they're going to be kind of hampering that amount of energy that's going to be in the group. And you can kind of see it's really 7 trucks, and then it kind of falls, or excuse me, 6 trucks, and then it kind of falls off a little bit. And it's just the amount of damage that these trucks have. So they're going to be losing about a second a lap from what we're seeing. Their hope is going to be, all right, we stretch this out far enough. We only have to do a splash of gas as opposed to like 8-9 seconds of fuel. They might be able to save a few seconds and not so much get out in front of that group currently led by Ryan Johnson, but maybe be close enough to the back that they can kind of get pulled back into the mix of things should this thing stay green.
Well, I had to take a look because I could tell there was a man on the move back here, and it's the 87 of Andrew Harris now leading the charge in that outside lane out of Stryker Motorsports, being pushed by Bobby Anderson and Jason Kratky. Coming up to help them out as well, Josh Mueller and the 22 of Josh Fox. So all hands on deck, man. It is a tight battle here in this top 10. I mean, look at this inside lane. You got Johnson, Williams, Halda, Michael Madden, and I believe that is the 36 there.
Yeah, it's Austin
Purnell. Yeah.
With a nice Jeff Burton throwback to the late 90s, early 2000s. That was one of my favorite paint schemes, actually, of that era. Just the Lightning, the X-Side Lightning car. Looks great out there today. But, one that I was looking at, actually, I'm not sure what happened to Cody Madden, but he kind of fell away from that group. When they had those pit stops. Rob Yost also falling off that, so not too sure what happened there. Possible that Michael Madden just came out a little bit quicker, got the pull from the trucks in front of him, and that just wasn't there for Yost and Madden. But that really thinned out another couple of trucks from this eventual lead pack should this thing stay green.
Yeah, I'm showing identical lap times for Cody Madden and Michael Madden. Rob Yost taking 2 more seconds on his pit stop, and that will hurt you when it comes to coming out with the guys that you were running with. That's what I was mentioning when they were coming down pit road. You got to know what everybody's doing around you on pit road. Otherwise, it's going to hang you out on an island, and that's exactly what Rob Yost is feeling right now as he's 6 seconds back of this pack running in 20th after having a chance at possibly coming home with a win tonight.
And you know what? Still a long way to go. Quarter of the way to go. One caution, and hopefully we don't see that. I'm not going to try to put that out there, but one caution, and all of a sudden everybody right back in the mix of this thing as we got 24 trucks currently still on the lead lap even after that big wreck about 20 laps ago. So maybe 25 laps ago now. But this side-by-side racing, they're still closing down about 3/4 a second, despite being side-by-side on that group that's still staying out there trying to stretch this out even farther.
Yeah, I'm honestly shocked. You know, the last time those guys came down pit road was lap 24. So with 14 to go, we're currently lap 46 now, 47. It's probably getting
not a whole lot longer.
Close. Yeah, they've got about a lap or 2 before I believe they're going to be forced to come down pit road. So keep an eye on that. But this is going to turn out to be the battle for the lead. Andrew Harris starting to fall back a little bit on that high line, but then gets a really good shove down the backstretch. Usually gets right back to the side in 48 here, entering 3.
And that's such a crazy feeling when you start seeing that truck to the side of you, start pulling away, and you're like, no, what happened? And then you get that bump, and you feel like Superman, all of a sudden going about 100 miles an hour faster as you start going right by again. Just so fun being on these super speedways when you get to this kind of a point where it's just nice, clean, side-by-side racing, all about good shoves, all about keeping those lines tight. And that's what we're seeing here. It's pretty much a dead-even race now. 5 on the outside, 5 on the inside. as I do believe that lead pack currently are starting to make some pit stops here this time by.
Yeah, we'll go back up front, keep an eye on them, see how they do entering pit road. It's a very important pit stop here. You don't want to mess up what you got here going at 13 laps to go. Wow, Bo Tiffany makes an aggressive move. He's going to have to lock him down a little bit. Gets on there what I believe is relatively cleanly. See a lot of these guys giving up a lot of time entering pit road, which is, I believe, also what might have happened to Rob Yost and Cody Madden. Taking it a little too easy. Sometimes getting on pit road can really hurt you.
Oh, it doesn't take much, that's for sure, to get slowed up enough to lose any drafting help coming out of pit road, and that is just a death blow in these green flag runs like we have. But here we go, top 10 side by side, 5 rows deep, as this now the race for the lead once again. It's the I'll just go ahead and say the Alan Kowicki throwback. You can name any Hooters driver there, but I'll say Alan Kowicki there on the inside. Joe Nemechek now in the middle with Darrell Waltrip on the outside, more known as Ryan Johnson, Andrew Harris, and Bobby Anderson.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised with how well orchestrated that was. Wow, Cracky gets into the wall. That's going to force those tank guys to come down, maybe help out Andrew Harris, who isn't going away, but that's going to kill that high line entirely now. The whole bottom lane going to be able to clear those guys. That's all it takes is one driver getting into the wall a little bit and scaring everybody else behind you. It can really kill momentum. Now Cracky falling off the pace. He is losing time, big time in a hurry here back at 10.
And now we get to the really interesting point as everybody gets single filed out as we ride with Jason Kratke, and that is a helpless feeling right there as you see that group getting farther and farther away. There is going to be no draft help there as he's a little over 2 seconds back. He's going to be man on an island, and that is a tough spot to be. But now everybody here, top 9, single file, 11 laps to go, coming to 10 laps to go, and now it's about confidence. When do I make that move? When do I know I have the ability to start whipping around these cars, start picking up positions, and when is the right time to take that shot to break it up and see if I've got anybody with me?
I think these guys in the back are making the right moves here. I mean, for them, you don't want to be too far back. You got to take the opportunity when you can get it to maybe get some draft help, and that's what Josh Mueller is doing back there. I mean, he's got Bobby Anderson now. Andrew Harris taking a look to the outside. They're just going to leave Harris out there to dry, it looks like. And Harris is going to drop to the back of this lead pack as the 26 makes a move to the inside. But he is going to jump back out and expect the 87 to help him now after that. It's kind of funny, the mental game that a driver can go through here at Talladega, because now Andrew Harris is going to go to the inside and be like, I'm not going to help you, man. You didn't help me. Feelings can get hurt in a hurry when you're here at Talladega or Daytona.
And you talk about the mental side too, and a lot of that, I always say that in real life, people kind of have a checking account and a savings account. A checking account is more what people have done and what the relationship is like between two people in the short term. Savings account is what they've proven themselves to be in the long term. It's a lot similar in super speedway racing. Long term, hey, maybe I had some good help from somebody a year ago, 2 years ago in a race, and I know that they're at least good enough and I can trust them a little bit. There's that short term. How much has anybody gone broke with a bad push or just a good stable line throughout the race? Or who's been really, really good at pushing or holding a straight wheel? So I know what I can do to push them up to the front. That's the checking account. Right now, everybody checking on that checking balance right now to see who do I want to be working with at this point.
Yeah, and you just see Bobby Anderson make the move to the high side. That caught the attention of Michael Madden. He said, hey, I want to do that too. Brings Andrew Harris along. That's 3 strong trucks here. Mueller and Fox got to be careful not to lose this draft. They will be out of contention of winning this thing this evening if it stays green all the way to the end. They still got to stay in tow. I'd be riding the inside line if I was them to try and get on the bumper of that 36. But 3 trucks side by side from Ryan Johnson on back to Andrew Harris. So see Purnell getting a little bit out of shape back there, and that's the 6 of Daniel Park that they're going by on the apron. So coming back around to take lap 7 to go, and business is going to be picking up here at the front with Michael Madden leading the way on the outside lane. Ryan Johnson in front on the inside.
And It's just so cool. This being throwback race week for everybody at SRN, seeing all these throwback trucks, and this is really a throwback style of super speedway racing that we're seeing today. It really reminds me of the 90s style, where we don't have everybody all in one pack right now. We've got it kind of spread out a little bit, but we still got that side by side. You can link up together and really kind of tandem just about, and start to work together. Not nearly as well as yesterday in the Cup side, but we can see these partnerships really forming. It feels like a 90s style race, as now we got 3 wide there in the middle as they broke up on that outside line.
You can see the level of indecisiveness as well, as Andrew Harris didn't know who he wanted to go with, opts to go with Michael Madden. But that's really going to help out the inside lane again. Gives Austin Purnell maybe an opportunity to jump on the outside here in front of Michael Madden. Opts to stay behind Nick Halda and keep pushing that inside lane, but that really broke up a lot of the pack again. Bobby Anderson losing some ground here, as well as Mueller and Fox. This front pack breaking up is not going to be what these guys want if they're going to break up this JW Racing party.
Yeah, you have to be decisive. You have to be working together. The problem is all those JW trucks are in the same radio channel with each other. They're able to communicate with each other. You're not going to see that with everybody else there in this group, because they're all a mixed bag of teams. And so you're kind of guessing at what everybody else is doing, unless you want to just say it over the driver chat and just let everybody know what you're getting ready to do. I'm a little surprised to see Austin Purnell actually jump up to the outside and be third in line. I thought the only time he would do that is to lead the outside line, but I thought that inside line he was pretty comfortable there. Got a little squirrely. I think that was vision issues there, because you just can't see a whole lot. I think that's why he kind of looked a little off balance, but I thought he would have stayed to the inside a little bit while longer unless it was up to the front.
I agree with you, and it's 5 laps to go, so you have to be decisive in your decisions, because it could pay off in the end and you find yourself in victory lane. Andrew Harris with a little moment there, blinking, and the 87 comes right back on the track. Somebody smoking up here has blown an engine on this backstretch. We're probably going to see them here momentarily, but probably raising the eyebrows of some of these guys. That's Jacob Zala, I believe. They went by right there on the inside.
That caught our attention there a little bit, seeing smoke and thinking, well, are we going to get a caution at this point in the race? As we're seeing the chess match really starting to develop here, coming to 4 laps to go, and the old Talladega special. Oh, nice move by Michael Madden to cut down to the inside just in front of Ryan Johnson. That's going to shake up this JW train. They can't really make a move now because they're pinned to the inside by Andrew Harris and the rest of the outside line.
Yeah, and I have to imagine each truck in that outside lane is not going to work well with a JW truck. They're going to leave them out to dry. So if it, and it gets turned a little bit. Madden gets a little turned by Johnson there. He comes right back in front of Halda. That's going to split up these JW trucks here. Halda going to try to move to the outside. Bobby Anderson going to come down and help Madden out. That gives Johnson the lead again, but Halda left in the middle there. He's going to be in the sucker hole going right to the back of this one. Oh, and they made contact on the outside. Purnell's in the wall, comes down into Mueller, and Fox involved as well. This is going to bring out the caution here.
Oh, no, did not want to see that. We were lining up for a tremendous finish, and it's going to give a lot more guys the opportunity, but once we saw that contact there coming out of turn 2, everybody got scattered. It just felt like a time bomb was about ready to go off, and it just did, as we got the second caution of the night.
So we saw it happen live, but we're going to take a look again. That's when Halda comes up in front and hits Purnell. Purnell, nothing he can do but come up to the wall, try to get that truck back off. And that's the hard part, man. When you get into the wall sometimes, going to try and bring that up again here. When you get into the wall, though, it's really hard to get that car back off the wall. And you kind of got to turn it down a little more than you want. Maybe that's what happened to Purnell as he came down into the 26, but taking it back a little bit here. Halda not comfortable here in the center. It's going to come up a little bit into the 36. Not sure if Netcode was involved with the 87, maybe bringing that 49 up a little bit. But everything that happens after.
It almost looked like he was starting to see Andrew Harris kind of move up and trying to hang on to that a little bit of a pole as best as he could. And when he started to drift up just that little bit, there's still that arrow pole, and it kind of sucks a truck up towards the other one. And that might have been what happened there. Just unfortunate. They had some more space there that they could have used, but just desperate at that point, trying to hang on to every little bit of draft as you can. And kind of entertained listening to the driver chat. I'm not sure who it was, but I heard somebody say time to give the people something to watch because we got overtime at Talladega. They couldn't say it any better, and I couldn't say it any better either. That's what we got coming up here, a shootout at Talladega.
Yeah, it was really shaping up to be a great finish here as we were 3 wide battling up towards the front of the pack. And, I mean, I expect to see a great finish here. These truck guys have put on some wild finishes this season. A few of them by this guy right here in the 48. I think we're going to see just that here again tonight. But before we do that, we're going to step away again to run a few quick commercial breaks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have this wild finish on the other side of the break.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
All right, 56 people out in the chat. Boy, thanks for joining us because we have a good one for you here at the end of this one. Our first attempt at some overtime action here at Talladega. And yeah, we're getting word that caution being put on Austin Purnell, which kind of threw us for a little bit of a surprise here up here in the SRN broadcast booth. But hey, we don't make the calls here. We just give them to you guys out there in the chat. So Austin Purnell going to be going to the back of the pack.
Yeah, it caught me off guard, but they might have had an angle that we didn't quite get during the replays there, that they saw something different. But yeah, definitely a surprise there. I thought more in line of racing incident, honestly. But EOL to Purnell, not the worst thing ever, though, because he's still going to be out there. Well, he's already in pretty heavily damaged, actually. I was thinking he was still good, but no, he was on his side. So never mind that thought I was about to have. Let's just talk about the schedule.
Yeah, there you have it. Upcoming next week, going to be Dover Motor Speedway. Still having to get used to saying that after SMI bought them out earlier on in the year. Auto Club Speedway in 2 weeks. Las Vegas Motor Speedway in 3 weeks. Then out to Iowa and then Kansas. Spoke to Pete about it yesterday. Starting to turn into a little bit more of an intermediate schedule after a wild beginning to the season. Pretty much every variety of track that you could want starting to settle down a little bit in the middle portion.
Yeah, a little bit more traditional style of racing here. A lot of mile to 2 mile racetracks. Dover being the one, Iowa kind of in the middle there, a couple mile and a halfs, and that 2 mile wide racetrack at Auto Club. Going to be some entertaining races. If you're a Truck Series fan, you know that they're going to put on a good show. But I think all three of the series are going to be doing a great job entertaining everybody watching there. So be a friend, tell a friend, get the channel out there a little bit more, and let's see if we can start getting triple digits and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting so close. The subscribers have been amazing this year. All of the audience this year has been amazing. We can't do this without you guys, and this is why we do it. Some amazing finishes at the end of these races, and we're going to see one again as the Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is waving. We're going to see Ryan Johnson drop down in front of his teammate Trevor Williams here as they head down into turn number 1.
Well, the man that didn't want to see that was Andrew Harris, because he knows who's right behind him, and he's not going to be getting a push from Nick Halda in the 49 with those team trucks 1 and 2. So Harris going to be left all by himself on that outside line until somebody makes the move, and that somebody's going to be James Kerr, but he's the only one with 2 laps to go down the backstretch to do it. Now Michael Madden to the outside to form up that outside line a little bit more.
Yeah, so they see that. They're going to try and put some air on the front end of that 15. Not going to matter, though, because he got a good run heading down the backstretch, and that 87 going to pull right up behind that 15 and give that Ford F-150 a big push heading out of turn 4 as they barrel down towards the start-finish line to take 1 lap to go here at Talladega.
Still got a couple hundred feet before that white flag, but it is out. It is waving. They've taken it. This race official. Next flag will end it side by side, possibly 3 wide as they work their way through 1 and 2.
I think James Kerr just learned he has some teammates if he wants to do that. Bobby Anderson is willing to take that high line, but he's got to do it now to get the momentum all the way down the backstretch. He's going to bring that 18 Darrell Waltrip throwback up there with him. The 13 and the 18 making a big push. Bobby thinks otherwise, drops back down to the second lane. He's going to try and move up behind Andrew Harris. He can't make up his mind. But the battle's out in front. Ryan Johnson controlling this thing. Michael Madden needing that big push from Andrew Harris.
It might be coming, but they're to turn teammates each other. Ryan Johnson spinning to the apron, and that's going to leave it 3 wide open to the finish.
Michael Madden coming out of the dogleg. They're wrecking everywhere, but he is all clean. Michael Madden coming to the stripe. He is going to win it. Andrew Harris just behind him, and Jonathan Byer comes out of nowhere to get 3rd here tonight. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Michael Madden all by himself there across the line, and it was just absolute carnage behind him, and a whole lot of beat up trucks and a whole lot of trucks that we didn't even mention all night finding themselves inside the top 10 to close this thing out.
Oh, man, it never ceases to amaze me here in the Truck Series, but they have wild finishes every week, and we did not see the contact coming between JW Racing teammates that sent Ryan Johnson kind of turning a little bit down into the apron there, killed all his momentum, and then killed the momentum of Trevor Williams, Nick Halda, and 15 was smooth sailing. He didn't have anybody to beat and bang off of because they were all doing it. Behind him, he comes home with the win here, his first win in season number 3.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that Ross Chastain kind of thing. Just hold a straight line, everybody wrecks around you, and you're good to go all the way across the finish line. So that 15 truck, man, I feel like we've been saying it for a little bit now, even going back to about midway point of last season. It just felt like Michael Madden was just kind of stuck in neutral there, and it was just rough for a few races. And then he's always been, like, we always look at him like, man, it's got to happen. He's got to win a race eventually here. He's due for one of these things, and finally he kind of gets off the snide there a little bit and picks up the checkers here at Talladega.
Yeah, so he joins the win column with his teammate Sean Jensick, so that's 2 wins now for Rat Pack Racing, and the perfect time to get some momentum heading towards the right direction. So Michael Madden has been quietly working his way up through those individual standings all season long, and it's really going to pay off here tonight, making the aggressive moves that he needed to get that Ford F-150 in a position to come home in first place. So he is going to keep burning it down out here. He's got plenty of fuel to do so, unlike our Cup Series winner from last night. Didn't have enough fuel to even get the celebrations done. But this is your TJ's team winning moment. Go ahead and check them out at morethancape.org.
Well, and hey, why not? A Dale Earnhardt throwback, back to that Coca-Cola style Dale Earnhardt car. That's going to be the one that finds himself in victory lane at Talladega. That's pretty fitting right there.
So looking like he's going to go ahead and end the donuts and make a little bit of a Polish victory lap, and we'll let him enjoy doing just that. We're going to go ahead and take ourselves back up to the blimp cam and bring up the results from this evening's race. Race number 8 of 20 is in the books. Michael Madden penciling himself in the winners column. He's got a healthy margin between him, about a tenth and a half between him and Andrew Harris. And then Jonathan Byer comes home in the final podium position. Ben Park quietly finishing 4th this evening. Nick Halda rounds out the top 5.
6th place will be A.J. Pritchett. There's one of the names that we really didn't mention all night. Just kind of a quiet run and avoided all the trouble there for that 6th place finish. Trevor Williams will find himself in 7th. James Kerr in 8th. Brad Herman in 9th. And looks like he'll be the hard charger tonight, starting 35th plus 26 for Brad Herman today. And Troy Techmeyer in that Neil Bonnet throwback rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, and then Ryan Johnson, who was sitting in first coming off the final turn, comes home in 11th, so not the finish that he is going to want. Bo Tiffany comes home in 12th. Bobby Anderson there in 13th. And Jason Crackey, Cody Madden rounding out the top 15.
16th place will be Blair Holloman in the rental vehicle, the U-Haul truck out there in 16th. Rob Yost Jr. will be in 17th, last driver on the lead lap. Lane Doyle, first one lap down in 18th. 19th place will be Josh Fox, and Walt Lepicki rounds out the top 20.
All right, well, let's go ahead, track down Jonathan Byer and bring him on up into the broadcast booth. Jonathan, it's Greg Olenek and Brandon Domain. Congrats on a third-place run tonight, man. We didn't really talk about you all evening. Then all heck breaks loose on that last turn, and there you are coming home in third tonight. How was the run?
It was great. It sure feels good to talk to you guys again. It's the first time this year. It feels like it's been forever, just the way this year's gone so far. But no, tonight was really good. You know, I race these super speedways a little bit different than some of my teammates do, and we kind of had that discussion before the race, like what we wanted to do. Some of our teammates needed a good points night. The other ones were just out here to win it. So we kind of came up with 2 separate strategies for that. And I just ran in the back, avoided the first 2 big ones. Lost the draft after the first green flag pit cycle, but it turned out to be a good thing because I was able to stay out of that late race caution. And then at the end, I mean, in that last lap in the trioval, you're just keeping your foot in it and hoping you come out the other side, because if you do, you're probably going to gain a few spots. And that ended up being P3 tonight for us.
Yeah, it was P3, and on a season, I mean, you talk about, you haven't been up here a whole lot and all that, and, we kind of sit there at times thinking, like, man, it feels like a slower start, but at the same time, you're still sitting there in the top 5 in points, putting together really consistent finishes, even through all the kind of chaotic schedule that we had to this point. Now we're starting to get more to the bread and butter, the 1.5 miles, 2 miles, all the more traditional tracks. How does it feel to get a little bit more momentum going here today before heading to that side of the schedule?
It feels great to be able to have a good finish going into the rest of the regular season, because as a team we feel like some of these tracks coming up in the next 5 are some of our best. And that's good for us, because we have a few guys that are on the outside looking in that are going to need some points, and we're going to try to get as many JBR trucks in the playoffs as possible. That's the ultimate goal. But like you said, being 5th in points coming into this race, we've had a quiet but effective start to the year, and I've just been clicking off finishes. Only one that was really bad, but otherwise just kind of being there, finishing every race and getting whatever I can get. And that's all you have to do in the regular season to make yourself relevant for the playoffs, and then we turn the dial up as soon as we get there. So we're excited at the next stretch. We feel like our best tracks as a team are coming up, and we're going to be ready for them.
All right. Well, before we let you go, Jonathan, and celebrate your 3rd place finish with your teammates, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
I do. I'd like to thank my family for watching. They watch every week. They cheer on the JBR team. I'm thankful for them. Thankful for Bolify being on the truck tonight and the awesome 2004 Dale Jarrett throwback scheme. That was a really fun one to race tonight. Z Grills, Smoky Dave's Barbecue, Hyatt's Hood Cleaning. The list goes on and on. Just go to jbirracing.com/partners and you can read about all of them.
All right, man. Well, congratulations again on what I believe is possibly your first podium finish on the season, man. Use that momentum heading into Dover next week, and maybe we'll be talking to you again in Victory Lane maybe next week.
I'd love to have that happen. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Take care. All right, Brandon, that was our third place finisher here this evening, the one and only Jonathan Byer. Let's track down now our runner-up and bring Andrew Harris up to the booth. Andrew, it's Greg Olenek, Brandon Domain up here in the SRN broadcast booth. You were my pick tonight to win it. You come home in second, almost steal a win there at the end with all the carnage happening off of turn number 4. Tell us about that race. And, man, you've really been on a tear lately climbing up through the points. How's it feel to kind of get that momentum heading in the right direction?
Oh, yeah. After last season, everything went to crap for my point standings and everything. So this year started out a little rough, and I wanted to turn it around. And so I was like, all I'm going to focus on is good finishes. Don't have to, win every race. As for this race, 2 seasons ago in season 1 of SRN, I got 3rd. Last season, I got 2nd. I really, really wanted to go up 1 spot, but I just didn't have enough for Michael Madden.
It was just a wild final finish there, and I think everybody knew that was coming once we got to that overtime finish there. But, man, I'm just looking at these last few weeks, sitting there every single finish, the last 4 races inside the top 10. You mentioned kind of that mental shift, just thinking about races a little bit differently. But now we start going. I just asked Jonathan this too. The more the traditional style of racetracks, how's it feel building all this momentum and now getting to the tracks that we're really familiar with as opposed to some of the more road courses and flat tracks that we've been seeing?
Haven't looked too far in the schedule. I know Dover's coming up. I had a really good run until some accidents happened at Dover the first season when I was running, decent as everything. But once we get to these mile and a halves and normal tracks, I feel like I can run up front. But again, until the playoffs start coming and everything, I really just want to shift from, I got called a wild and fast, crazy driver. And then I was like, maybe I should just be a kind of fast, normal driver that finishes the race.
Hey, fair enough. Well, it seems to be paying off with the last couple of weeks, man. You've really been adding up the points here and maybe worked your way into the top 15. We're going to have to find out next week when we unveil those points with the drop weeks. But Andrew Harris, congratulations on the runner-up. Before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to?
Yeah, as always, I want to thank, Stryker, Jose Castellanos. He had an unfortunate race. Raul couldn't make it. His computer's messed up. Travis Trevelyan, obviously, for bringing me on with Stryker. Love it. My grandma's watching. I see she's already commenting on my Facebook post and everything. And then I told the guy that painted this paint for me literally today, 4 hours before the race started, Jerry Trainer, great painter. I think his emblem is on my truck. So everything. And then obviously you guys at SRN, you guys are awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, we love seeing you start to build that momentum. We'll see how you do next week when we get out to Dover, man. Have fun celebrating that runner-up tonight.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, that was Andrew Harris, who came home in P number 2 tonight. Let's go ahead and bring up the man of the hour and get Michael Madden up here to the booth. Michael, congratulations. You're down there in victory lane for the first time of the season with a wild ending to that one. What were you thinking coming off of turn 4 there?
Jeez, boys, it's been a minute. It feels great to get the first win of the season. I don't know, man. I just kept myself in position all race long. Just tried to stay up front with them guys. And then big shout out to Andrew Harris, man. He could have dumped me and took the win, but he stayed on my back bumper and just pushed me to the end. And got lucky with those guys. It would have been a hell of a race if we get a drag race to the finish. But, yeah, I was just thinking just keep my foot in it, let something happen, and luckily it did. The trucks were so easy to turn all night. That was the big issue. And I knew when pushing got tough, somebody was going to make a mistake.
Well, it's a great way to end that wind drought that, we kept saying, man, you're due.
Wind drought, bad luck drought, man.
Bad luck drought, however you want to call it, man. We keep saying, I think every time we start talking about making picks, it's just like, he's right there. He's due for one of these things. It finally happened, and I don't think it could have been a better paint scheme for that to happen, having an Earnhardt-style scheme here in Victory Lane in Talladega.
Absolutely not. I put that together last minute with Jensick, and he did it up for me. He stayed up trying to find Taz, and Taz was raring to go tonight on that front of that hood, man. He wanted to be out front, and I just kept it up front, man. I just kept it in position because you had to be there at the end. I can't finish these races all season long, it feels like. I got taken out by a piece of grass last week, and it's just been frustrating. So it's great to come to an uncertain track and get some luck going your way, you know?
Well, I mean, I know you pretty well, and I know you're looking forward to next week as well at Dover. You think you can make this back-to-back here now, go 2 for 2 in 2 weeks going to Dover Motor Speedway next week?
Absolutely. I've had that track circled like 4 or 5 times after this bad luck streak, so I'm looking forward to Dover. I run very well there, looking to have some solid finishes down the stretch here and get myself going into the playoffs on a good note. Mile and a half are my strong suit, so we got a lot of those coming up.
Oh, we sure do. But, Michael, before we let you go, celebrate with your Rat Pack Racing teammates. You got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to? I know you got a lot of people watching you out there in the chat cheering you on.
Yeah, I got a lot of people to thank the family. I just got engaged over 2 weeks ago, so I thank my fiance now for watching instead of my girlfriend anymore. And I always want to thank Cody Riggs for coming on, crew chief and me, and all the Rat Pack boys, Yost and Duke. They put on a hell of a practice all week and situations for us to deal with. And I always want to thank Sparkle and Shine and You're Able for all they do for me. I appreciate them.
All right, man. Well, we look forward to seeing what you're able to do next week when we get out to Dover. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Congratulations once again. Good luck next week, and have fun celebrating with everybody tonight, man.
Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
All right, Brandon. Well, that was our very own Michael Madden coming home in first place tonight. His first win of the season comes at the ultimate wild card known as Talladega Superspeedway.
Man, that's got to feel good. You know, he mentioned just bad luck, not being able to close out races and just random things happening. And that's kind of the description of Talladega or Daytona. Just you never know until you cross the line if you're good. And that had to be just the ultimate breath of relief. And especially after that run, it goes back to week 8 last season. And here we are in week 8 this season with Michael Madden back in victory lane. There was Pocono then, Talladega now. But like he said, man, Dover, just a really good track for him. Wouldn't be surprised if we keep seeing that 15 truck moving up those point standings even more.
Yeah, he's got a favorable part of the schedule, it seems like, from the way he is sounding. And, you know, you come out of a super speedway with a win, you're feeling awfully lucky after that. So maybe we see that number 20 tomorrow end up in victory lane. Brandon, how you feeling about the Xfinity Series race, which you can catch at the same time in the same place here on SRN tomorrow?
Oh, man, it's always one of those races where you just don't know what you got until the end of it. Like I said, you know, until you cross the line, you don't know where you are. I was saying in a team practice a little bit ago, I think, you know, the 7 plate races I've been in here in SRN. I think 5 or 6 of them have been in the top 6, taking the white flag, and I think 5 or all 6 of those I wound up wrecked on that final lap. So you can put yourself in the right position, and then it's, you know, who knows what happens. So maybe we do, but there's a whole lot of cars that have a great shot tomorrow, and hopefully we see a great race.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's ever a right position when it comes to super speedway racing. It's just it does involve a little bit of luck. So I wish you all the luck tomorrow, Brandon. But for everybody out there, yeah, come back same time, same place tomorrow. A little bit of a surprise, though. That's all I'm going to leave you guys with. But that's going to do it for us here tonight, for everybody here behind the scenes, for myself, as well as Brandon Domain. Remember to go faster, good night, and we will see you tomorrow.